Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to introduce you to Ryan. Ryan runs an email marketing agency that has generated over $30 million in revenue through email marketing for e-commerce stores. On top of that, Ryan's agency, Email All-Stars, is Klaviyo's #1 top partner agency. So Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Great. So yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show, Shash. First of all, I run Email All-Stars, so of course we work with almost exclusively with Klaviyo clients and e-commerce stores. And we handle everything from the strategy of their email marketing campaigns to the entire setup of their email marketing systems, copywriting, design, and everything. And with that, I've been running this business for around 4 years now, so I've gotten a chance to work with a lot of different e-commerce stores. E-commerce stores that range everywhere from making 5 figures per month to making 8 figures per month with their marketing. So on this show, I'm hoping I can give your viewers a lot of value and show them inside some of the 8-figure e-commerce stores that I've worked with and some of the strategies that I know help bring a lot more revenue with email marketing.
Cool. So Ryan, can you tell me what's the #1 mistake that e-commerce stores make when it comes to email marketing?
Definitely. I would say when an e-commerce store grows, and especially once they're getting to the 7 to 8 figures per month range, they need to view email marketing very differently from stores that are smaller. Because you have so much volume coming into your store, you're selling to so many different types of clients, you really need to allow your email marketing to grow with that. So of course, if you're making that much money, you probably have your main sequences of abandoned cart, welcome sequences, of nurturing sequences, of browse abandonment sequences. But at that point, you really need to start to segment your customers into different areas and start to launch new, more experimental email flows for them. For example, once stores start to get a lot bigger and they start to bring in that sort of revenue, you need to experiment with things like expected purchase flows, which actually use Klaviyo's artificial intelligence to determine when someone is likely to buy again and hit them with the right offer. You need to figure out if you can create flows that are more specific to different niches or different products that you offer. The pains that product A solves may be very different from the pains that product B solves. And if you can speak to your market more clearly in an email sequence around those different products, for example, an abandoned cart sequence that focuses more on one product, that talks about one product specifically, and an abandoned cart sequence that is triggered when someone abandons their cart on the other product, then you can actually convert those people to a higher percentage than you were before. Those are a couple ideas for flows, but you need to look at email marketing as something that's more than just emails and messages being sent out to your clients. You need to look at changing email marketing into a consistent, constant salesperson who's automated, who's always following up with people, giving them the right message at the right time. So it isn't really, when you start to run a brand that's doing 8 figures per month, you have to view your email marketing as a core component to your sales funnels. You have to look at all the different stages that your clients are going through and how you can infuse email marketing messaging into that in order to actually get a conversion. For example, someone comes to your website for the first time and you have some sort of opt-in, whether it's a coupon opt-in, whether it's some sort of lead magnet, you capture that person for the first time. And that's the top end of your funnel, of course. Then your messaging needs to welcome them to your brand. It needs to explain to them why they are safe to buy from you, show all the reasons why other people buy from you, show testimonials, and convince them to make their first purchase. And then after that, where do you take this person? Maybe you try and upsell them different products. You try and look at what sort of products they bought and smartly send them emails that can refer them other products. Maybe you put them on a longer sequence where over the next year or so, they'll get consistent updates from you. Not newsletter updates, those are something different, but consistent check-ins to make sure that they're loving their product and to see if they need to buy more, if they have any questions, if they want to potentially leave you a video testimonial and review. Just having that consistent follow-up is really key to these larger e-commerce stores.
So Ryan, a quick question I got for you is, what percentage of an e-commerce store's revenue should be coming from email marketing?
So I would say That can vary pretty wildly, but in my experience, on the very low end, if you are an e-commerce store that's just a drop shipper that drop ships anything that can sell from AliExpress, you'll only be able to make around 5% of your revenue from email marketing, maybe 10. On average, a store that's custom branded, you don't have too many different types of products, but people really love your store, people like what you sell, you can actually make upwards of 30% of your revenue from email marketing. But then on the high end, if you have a really customized store where people really love what you do and a really loyal audience, you can make almost 50% of your sales just from email marketing. Because these people are already engaged with you and you're just giving them the right follow-ups and the right messaging to keep on top of you, to keep them engaged and keep them reading your emails and ultimately buying from you on a very regular basis. So that's the range, but if you're running an 8-figure e-commerce store, you should be making at least 30% of your revenue from email marketing or more.
That's a really great point you made there, Ryan, that if you are a really custom branded email marketing store, you'll get better results with email marketing. And we see the same thing with paid ads. Dropshipping stores are really, really tough to make work with paid ads. Yeah, it can work, but really if you want to make a long-term play, you got to have your own products. Now, another interesting thing you said is that in some stores, email marketing can generate up to 50% in revenue. Now, if you're running paid ads, this is really important because a lot of e-commerce stores, right, they might be running paid ads and after ad costs and after cost of goods sold, they maybe have a little bit of profit margin, but email marketing is extremely profitable because you write an email, it works for you forever. And yeah, you have newsletters that go out all the time, but then you have emails that you have set up as sequences for perpetuity. So this can make your paid advertising much more profitable. And that's what I love about email marketing. Paid ads, like what my agency does, brings in the leads. Then what Ryan's agency does is help convert those leads into customers. So it's a really great synergy between email marketing and paid traffic. So Ryan, could you tell me a bit more about kind of some of the campaign strategies you use?
Definitely. So with really large e-commerce stores, some of the most money that you can make from your email marketing is from your email lists. Those are campaigns, some people call them newsletters, the one-time emails that you send out. And this is something that I see almost across the board with e-commerce stores that are doing 8 figures or more, is that they have a huge list of people, but they're either not segmenting them at all and just blasting their emails to their entire list, which is hurting deliverability, which is making their emails go to spam, or they're only sending to a very small portion of their list, and they have all these leads. I see so many stores that have maybe 100,000 email addresses when they're doing 8 figures per month. And then we look into those email addresses and we realize that they're only sending to about 25% of that list. Only maybe, only that small segment of their list is getting emailed. So they have so many more leads that they bought all of these people. They bought all these email addresses. They're ready to sell to them, but they just, these people were a little bit less engaged, and instead of changing up the strategy to contact them, they just cut them out of their list and only emailed the hyper engaged segment. So there's so much lost revenue that I see in a lot of these huge e-commerce stores just because they don't properly segment their list and use different strategies to re-engage with unengaged segments as they do with their most engaged segments, the people that are reading all their emails.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And how do you suggest dealing with these unengaged people?
Definitely. So with the unengaged people, you really need to have some sort of system set up where you're constantly trying to re-engage them and bring them back to your list. Basically bring them back from the dead. What me and my team do is usually we take this larger list and then we chop it up into segments. Because if we were to send an email blast to this entire disengaged list, that's when all your email starts going into spam. So you need to be very smart about this if you want to avoid the spam traps that are within this list. So we cut this list up into segments where we take all the people who have become disengaged maybe in the last between 3 months ago and 6 months ago. And then we send out a specific email campaign to those people. It could be something that's a contest to win something free in your store. It could be some really engaging content, some of the best content that you have about your products. It could be a large coupon code to have them come back and check out your store again. But depending on what you sell, you need to create some sort of offer and send it out to this segment of people to try and get them opening your emails again. And then what a software like Klaviyo does is it can take all the people that engage from that and put them onto your active list and win them back into your engaged subscribers. So you can take someone who was not opening any of your emails and maybe not even receiving emails before and add them back onto your list, where you may have a list of 75,000 people who have just become disengaged and stopped paying attention to what you're sending them. But if you send out the right kind of re-engagement strategy, chop that up into different segments and send out these messages to try and win back as many as you can from one segment, and then go into a further back segment. For example, 6 months to 1 year ago, they became disengaged, and try and win them back until you get open rates that are too low. You can win back potentially 50% of a list that was completely dead before and turn them into happy paying customers again. So there's a lot of potential probably already on your list that you're just not taking advantage of.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I'm also curious about email campaigns, right? Like these larger stores that are doing 7 figures a month to even 8 figures a month. These larger stores, do you typically find that they email their list enough, or what is the suggested frequency for sending out email campaigns if you're a larger company?
So that can vary very wildly. I would say as a rule of thumb, if you do have a relatively engaged list, you should be sending at least 1 email campaign per week. But if you are a store that's doing 8 figures per month or more, then what you can start doing is actually sending, and it sounds crazy, but you can actually start sending an email a day very safely. What you have to do though is you have to chop up your list into the most engaged people who will open every single email, and they can be allowed to receive an email a day because you know they're engaged, you know that they really love your products, and they'll continue to open and buy from those. And then you should have a segment of the less engaged but still sometimes openers. Those people should probably only receive 1 to 2 emails per week, but you should continuously be engaging with them. And then there are the people who maybe never bought and you're still trying to convert into a paying customer. Maybe only send them 1 email every week or once every 2 weeks. But just using different strategies for different segments of your customers can really help you make a lot more sales. If you send the same messaging to everybody, then your emails will start going into spam, and you're just not going to really be able to engage with your entire list. But if you're smart about it, you can send out offers and email promos and just content every single day safely and make a lot of money from it. I've seen some stores, one store that I've worked with recently was making around $10,000 per month from their emails, and they were an 8-figure e-commerce store, 8-figure monthly. And we actually helped them get from $10,000 per month to $150,000 per month within the first 2 months of working with us, just because we smartly segmented and started creating some great content to send out to their email list.
Let's say I have an e-commerce store that sells tasers, right? Tasers for parties and funny tasers, not dangerous tasers.
Okay.
And if you wanted to sell these tasers that perhaps have some self-protection use, how would you do it? What kind of topics will you use with email marketing?
All right, that is actually a very good point, because let's say in this hypothetical situation with these tasers, with these types of products, they have a lot of different, there's a lot of different angles that you can take with them. They have some benefits, which are self-defense, and you mentioned party tasers. Not sure why you would mention that, Shash. Yeah, different topic. Anyways, there's many different angles that you can take with these. When you have an e-commerce store that's doing 8 figures per month or 7 figures per month or something just on the larger end, view your email list as a testing ground for a lot of different ideas and angles. So with this topic, you could try an email that goes more into the pains that this taser solves. For example, self-defense, feeling safe when you're walking around at night. You could have email content that's more pain focused, and send that out to your list, view the response, view the sales, view the engagement, and see how they respond to that topic. Then you could also do things like a more benefits focused email, where you focus it around you mentioned a taser for parties. Who knows what you would use a taser for in parties? I sure wouldn't know anything about that. But like, what are some of the fun benefits that you could use this type of product for? What are some photos and potentially videos of people using them in these types of parties or situations to give your clients an idea? Then view the sales from that. And there are many evergreen topics that you can actually focus on and test out on your list just to see what the response will be. So view your email list as a testing ground to test ideas, to test product launches, to test different copywriting angles and see how your list responds to it in order to use it to its fullest. What we do for our clients is if we're running a lot of email campaigns, for example, an email a day for some of the larger e-commerce stores I work with, we're consistently viewing the results of the past email marketing campaigns and making smarter decisions about the next month of email campaigns. Taking those topics and those types of subjects that just don't work and getting rid of them and seeing how we can expand on the topics that are working for the list. So that's my general advice for big email lists.
Got it. So basically view email marketing as a testing ground, always be trying different angles. And I really like this because this is something, you could take your email list, you can take like the best headlines, the best content, and then use it for your paid advertising campaigns. So for example, if you're an e-commerce store and you're thinking of, okay, what are my angles for the next coming months, right? What kind of pain points can I hit? What kind of ad copy can I use? What kind of videos can I get produced? You can just use these tests on your email list, right? Like you can do tests inside your email list, which is quick and easy. And then if you see something hits, yeah, you can hire a production agency to make a video around that. So this is really awesome for really learning what works in your marketing and what doesn't. And honestly, this has given me a lot of ideas on how I can use this information to get my clients better results.
Yeah. And yeah, that's definitely, there's so much more we could go into with email marketing, but I don't want to take too much of your audience's time. But yeah, I'm really happy that you can invite me over here to talk about email marketing and break down some of these big ideas for all of the e-commerce stores out there. And even people who are not e-com. Hopefully you got some great ideas from this.
So Ryan, I love this interview. You gave a lot of value to everybody. And I'm curious, where can people find you and how can people work with you?
Yeah, so first of all, of course, my website is emailallstars.com. So if you want to learn more about what I do, you can go there. But I actually created a special piece for just your audience. If you go to emailallstars.com/linksdigital, spelled exactly like your business name is spelled.
LINX and then /DIGITAL, link in the description.
Yeah, link in the description. You can see that. So I have a document that shows you actually 10 evergreen newsletter ideas that you can start using right now. And some of these ideas are a little bit strange. You don't see them very often, but when you're working with really big lists, you often have to get very creative with topics, and especially evergreen style topics. So you can download that there and just go to that link and you'll find it. And if you're looking to potentially get email marketing set up for your store, just schedule a call with my team and I. And let us know that the amazing Links Digital sent you our way so we can really help you out with your store.
Ryan, once again, thanks for coming on the show. And yeah, hopefully we can get you back again to answer more questions and teach people more. Cheers.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Shash. And it's been a pleasure. Cheers. Take care, everyone.
With our feet on the ground, and we will talk with our head in the clouds, and we will walk